Okay, so now we will talk about is general insurance company that is called as GIC. So GIC. So GIC was formed by the central government in 1971. Now the GIC had 4 subsidiaries. Okay, so which one is the first one is National Insurance Company. Second one, New India Assurance. Third, Oriental Insurance. And the fourth one is United India Insurance. So GIC, as I said, was formed after LIC was formed, and it was formed in 1971, and GIC has 4 branches or subsidiaries. So GIC is divided into 4 parts. That is, the first one is National Insurance Company, you must have heard of it, New India Insurance Assurance and Oriental Insurance, and the fourth one is United India Insurance. Okay, now let me tell you some more details about GIC. So let me just clear this. Yes, now the GIC, okay, insurance nationalization Amendment Act 2002, very important point, has de-linked the GIC from, so now GIC has become a separate body and it's no more having a linkage with the other subsidiaries from its 4 subsidiaries. So previously it was a part, but after 2002 it has de-linked, so GIC has de-linked from its 4 subsidiaries. So that is a very important point also, as I told you also. So when we are going to talk about it, we should know that this is a very vital point. Okay, now let's talk about the next thing, and that we are going to talk about is nationalization. Okay, so let me wrap this. Yes, so because nationalization is very important, and we need to know that why the banks were nationalized. Okay, so let's talk about nationalization of banks. So this is the next topic, nationalization of banks. Okay, so the first one we will talk about is the Let Bank scheme. Okay, now after the nationalization of the commercial banks, as I told you, the government took initiative. So the government took initiative for extending banking facilities in rural areas. Okay, let me give you some more information about this. So after commercialization of banking, they made it nationalized. Now they thought of focusing in the rural areas also, and let me give you some committee was formed. So let me write that also. Now Professor D.R. Gadgil, he was the chairman of National Credit Study Group. Okay, so So he was the one who recommended. So he recommended the adaptation. What was the adaptation he recommended? It's called as area approach. Okay, and what was it? He wanted to evolve plans. So to evolve plans and programs for the development of an adequate banking and credit structure in rural areas. Okay, so now because of this, now what happened? Let us continue the story. So as a sequel, to this area approach, because they liked, the government liked the recommendation of the area approach, which was recommended, again let me write down, who recommended? D.R. Gadgil, by Dr. D.R. Gadgil study group. The lead bank scheme was introduced in December 1969. Okay, so this is the backdrop of the lead bank scheme. Let me just write now, let us explain more about lead bank scheme. Okay, now let's talk about lead bank scheme. Now under this scheme, this is a very weird scheme. So now under this scheme, a particular district, okay, so a particular district is allotted. What do you mean by allotted? Is given, allotted to every nationalized commercial bank. Now what is the criteria? It is based on size of the banks, depending on the adequacy of their resources, for how big is the village, and how, depending on that, the bank size is also depending, and depending on how much resources they have to do the work efficiently. So for handling the volume of work. Now the lead banks, initially they conducted basic surveys in the respective lead districts, and they prepared credit plans of various districts. Like they went to districts and they thought that let us plan accordingly how much credit each district wants, and what is the manpower, are there resources to help us, because when you are opening a bank also you need people to work under you, okay, and how they can be utilized properly. So that also they made a survey, and they linked this lead bank or this district credit plans, they linked with the development programs which are, and they try to integrate together. Okay, and that is why in rural areas this lead bank scheme was had become a very great progress. It was a notable progress in respect of branch expansion, then deposits. So every villager were trying to deposit money and open an account and credit. Even these banks gave a lot of loans to these farmers or these villagers also. Okay, so undoubtedly the scheme is a major steps towards bank fulfilling their new social objectives, and promising that these banks will help and bring about an entire economic development of allotted districts. So this was a big milestone for the bank because they could reach every district and give loans to the needy, and also there was an overall economic development because of these banks in the districts. Okay, so let us study the objectives of lead bank scheme. Yes, so objectives of lead bank scheme. So the first objective is branch expansion in rural districts. Second, mobilization of savings. Third, identifying areas for agriculture development. Fourth, development of small scale industries. Okay, then recruit and train specialized banking staff, okay, to make them aware. So they needed some special staff so that they would help, or they would get trained and recruit, so they could promote the scheme. Okay, so they wanted such kind of people who can make the villages aware of the scheme. So that is why they needed specialized banking staff. And the next point is to break. Okay, so this illegal money lenders, so they wanted to break that. So to break the illegal, okay, money lenders. Okay, so all these private lenders, they are very, very bad because they used to take a lot of high interest from these villagers. So to break the clutches of the money lenders, this lead bank scheme was initiated, or it was done in conducted in the villages. Okay, now in the next we will understand that why the scheme failed. Okay, so let me just wrap this. So why the scheme failed? Okay, so this is a very, very important point. Okay, so let me write down here. The first failure was, it was very complex, very complicated in nature, with no implementation guidelines. So there was no guidelines what to do, what not to do. Too much of complication was there. So there was no lack of coordination also, so that is also very important. So lack of coordination between district authorities and banking authorities. Okay, yes, then there was absence, there was nothing. So absence of checks, regular checkups were not done in the branches to see what is going on. Checks and balances, okay, to see how much balance is there in the bank and what are the checks, so that was also not there. There was no incentive also, yes, giving encouragement. So lack of incentives for banks, so that the banks also get encouraged and they also promote more of the activities. And also there was low commercial, so there was no commercial, there was no profit happening in the bank, so low commercial opportunities. Okay, so for these reasons, that it definitely the scheme failed. Okay, So we will now, coming forth, we will also talk about is more about nationalization of banks and how important it is, okay, in the coming class, okay. And then we will also talk about some questions which are very relevant to the bank, okay, regarding banks and the financial institutions in India. So I'll see you very soon in the next class. Take care.